The Israeli military has conducted what it called targeted raids in Rafah as negotiations to halt the 7-month war resumed in Cairo. Israel's operations are in defiance of international calls not to attack the southern city, which is crowded with Palestinian civilians sheltering near the Egyptian border. Fighting has intensified following Israel's seizure of the vital Rafah crossing with Egypt. Israel says it's reopened one of the main crossing points for aid. Kerem Shalom was closed last week following a Hamas rocket attack. The World Health Organization has warned hospitals are running dangerously low on fuel. Negotiators from Israel and Hamas are at the ceasefire talks in Cairo, along with Egyptian and Qatari mediators. On Monday, Israel rejected a 3-phase proposal that had been accepted by Hamas. From Jerusalem, our Middle East correspondent Yulan Nell reports. A warning: you may find some of her report distressing.
The panic and confusion as rescuers pull the wounded from the rubble after an overnight Israeli airstrike in Rafah. And today, another all too familiar scene in Gaza, a mother struggling with unbearable loss. After Israel seized control of the key crossing with Egypt, it says it's continuing a limited offensive in Gaza's southernmost city, battling Hamas gunmen in the east of their last stronghold. But for hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who fled to Rafah to escape the fighting elsewhere, there's renewed fear.
Last time they told us to go to Rafah, saying there's aid and it's a safe place. And look, they came into Rafah. For now, I won't go anywhere. I'll stay here. It's enough. We're tired of being displaced, and I don't know where I want to go.
World powers have warned Israel against a full assault here, saying it would be a humanitarian catastrophe. Israel argues its operation is pressuring Hamas to make concessions in talks on a ceasefire and the release of hostages.
And this is a critical moment in those indirect negotiations now taking place in Cairo. The US says it believes a deal is achievable, but Israel clearly has issues about the wording of the draft text, referring to a return to sustainable calm. It simply doesn't want the war in Gaza to end before it can say it's dismantled Hamas.
But there are signs of growing strain with Israel's closest allies. For the first time in this war, the US has halted a shipment of powerful bombs, an official says, worried about how they'd be used. The Israeli military insists relations with Washington remain strong.
The aid is unprecedented. The operational partnership is significant. When there are disputes, and they are being resolved in closed rooms in a matter-of-fact way.
In line with a promise to President Biden, today Israel said it was reopening the biggest crossing for aid into Gaza. Kerem Shalom was closed on Sunday after Hamas rockets killed 4 Israeli soldiers nearby. But a UN agency says no supplies have yet entered. The desperate situation in Rafah could yet get worse. Yolande Nell, BBC News, Jerusalem.
Well, let's speak to our security correspondent, Frank Garden, who is in Jerusalem. Frank, welcome to you. Just in the past few minutes, the Reuters news agency is reporting some comments from the US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on the suspension or pausing of one arms shipment, at least, to Israel. He confirmed that that had happened in a Senate hearing. He reiterated, though, the US's ironclad commitment to Israel, but he added the caveat that they want to ensure civilians are protected in Rafah. We know that there is a military operation in Rafah right now. What do you think these comments and the pausing of this military shipment means for Israel's offensive there?
Well, it's a clear sign of Washington's disapproval of Israel going into Rafah. It said, don't go into Rafah, do a ceasefire deal. And in fact, Israel has done the exact opposite of that. Now, Israel's view is that they need to go into Rafah to finish off what they consider are the last 4 remaining battalions of Hamas fighters and to find their tunnels, root them out, and also, as my colleague referred to there, to put pressure on Hamas to do a deal. But it's a densely packed area with roughly 1.4 million people already displaced many times. A lot of these people have moved up to 7 or 8 times trying to escape the fighting in other parts of the Gaza Strip. So in such a densely packed part of real estate, the US doesn't feel comfortable supplying Israel with 2,000-pound bombs. That's a 900-kilo bomb roughly, that even if it is precisely targeted, nevertheless there are going to be an awful lot of other people killed in that explosion. It's a huge bomb. So I think some people would say this has come rather late in the day. You know, there've been nearly 35,000 people killed in Gaza to date and climbing. But it is a very unprecedented, or almost unprecedented move, very rare indeed for the US to do this. When they say they've got ironclad support for Israel, they're really referring primarily to Israel defending itself against international threats. So on its northern border with Lebanon and Hezbollah, or defending its airspace against incoming drones and rockets and missiles from Iran. But when it comes to Gaza and the conduct of Israel's fighting, the conduct of Israel's war against Hamas there, which has taken such a heavy toll of the civilian population, the US is deeply concerned, they say, about that.
OK, Frank, thank you.